What's up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is an MFN report on high altitude EMP. We're actually going to be covering specifically a breaking report that has not been covered yet. In fact, because of our work with EMP Shield, we are getting kind of our first hands on this. This has never been put together like this ever before, so I think that it is definitely something that you will want to share with friends and family. This is, in fact, something that I hope that gets shared everywhere. This is a current threat and a very, very urgent one. So please take note that our bibliography of all of our sources will be at marfooglenews.com. In fact, the link will be down in the description below. If you want to find anything from here, you can go there and find all of the backup that you need to show friends and family of why they need to prepare for an EMP. On Sunday, June 6, a report was published by the EMP Task Force on National and Homeland Security. This report was written by Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, the executive director of that task force. In short, he explains the real and current threat of launching a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse, or HEMP, device over the continental United States. We're going to dive into that report. Let's get into it. The West consistently and unwittingly cooperates with NK by underestimating the advancement, sophistication, and strategic implications of NK's nuclear weapons and missile programs. Thus, under the nose of the U.S. intelligence community, NK surprised the world by demonstrating ICBMs that could target any city in the United States and a hydrogen boom that in the summer of 2017 of course, was successful. NK's KMS-3 and KMS-4 satellites orbit over the U.S. daily. These satellites are flying above us literally every day. Their trajectory is similar to that planned of the Soviet-era secret weapon called the Fractional Orbital Bombardment System, or FOBS for short, deployed by the USSR to make a surprise high-altitude EMP attack to the United States. This is something that needs to be talked about, and of course nobody is really talking about. Trajectories of the NK's KMS-3 and KMS-4 satellites are near optimal for a HEMP attack on the US if they are nuclear armed. HEMP attack does not require much accuracy or even a re-entry vehicle capable of penetrating the atmosphere and is well within NK's technological capabilities. This again is something that people are not talking about. Multiple credible foreign sources, including from South Korea, China, and Russia, including two of Russia's foremost EMP weapons experts, allege that the design for Russia's super EMP nuclear weapon leaked or was transferred to NK, and that NK has developed these super EMP weapons. Super EMP weapons are typically small, lightweight, and low yield, designed to emit enhanced gamma rays, not a big explosion, and could fit in NK's KMS-3 and KMS-4 satellites, or be delivered against the US by NK's ICBMs, or be delivered against Japan, Guam, the Philippines by NK's IRBMs or MRBMs like the Nodong, or against South Korea by a wide range of NK's short-range ballistic missiles, or SRBMs. Super EMP weapons generate extraordinarily powerful EMP fields, potentially 100 kilovolts per meter or higher, greatly exceeding the U.S. military high-altitude EMP hardening standard of 50 kilovolts per meter. U.S. civilian critical infrastructures like the National Electric Power Grid that are indispensable to the U.S. military power and projection capabilities are unprotected against high-altitude EMPs. Unbelievable. According to the NK state media, their September 2017 H-Boomer, or hydrogen boomer, is also a super EMP weapon. The hydrogen boomer, the explosive power of which adjustable from tens of kilotons to hundreds of kilotons, is a multiple functional thermonuclear nuke with great destructive power, which can be detonated at high altitudes for super powerful EMP according to strategic goals. Not good. Immediately following their September 2017 hydrogen boom test, NK published a technical report, The EMP Might of Nuclear Weapons, accurately describing a super EMP nuclear weapon. NK also has non-nuclear EMP weapons, including an EMP cannon used to impose an electromagnetic blockade on air traffic to Seoul, South Korea's capital, making repeated attacks that also disrupted communications and the operation of automobiles in several South Korean cities in December of 2010, March 9th of 2011, and all the way through April and May of 2012. Peter Pry goes on to explain that NK is a mortal nuclear threat to the United States right now. NK has labored for years and starved its people so it could develop an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching the United States. Why? Because they have a special kind of nuclear weapon that could destroy the United States with a single blow. In 2004, Russian generals warned the EMP Commission that NK could develop a super EMP nuclear weapon in a few years. A few years later, in 2006, NK conducted its first nuclear test of a device that looks suspiciously like a super EMP weapon. Because the NK device had a very low yield, about 1 to 2 kilotons, most experts dismissed the nuclear test as a failure, despite claims by NK that the device worked as planned. Basically, they're putting it out there that, it worked. This is a different kind of nuke. However, a super EMP weapon would have a low yield, like the NK device, because it's not designed to create a big explosion, but to convert its energy into gamma rays that generate the high altitude EMP. Again, in 2009, a second NK nuclear test looked like the first and was again declared a failure by many in the West and a success by North Korea. A third NK nuclear test on February 12th, 2013, again had a low yield, estimated by South Korea to have a 6 to 9 kiloton payload. Again, consistent with super EMP warhead designed to maximize fast gamma ray output. Now, I'm no scientist, but again, this is pretty simple to see. In 2010, according to some reputable or European analysts, radioisotope data indicates that NK may have conducted 2 clandestine nuclear tests of a very low-yield nuclear device of sophisticated fusion design. In 2012, a military commentator for the People's Republic of China told Hong Kong Journal that NK has a super EMP nuclear warhead. What about their super EMP satellites? Any of NK's ICBMs or their space launch vehicle could probably deliver a super EMP warhead to the United States. NK orbited a satellite weighing about 100 kilograms. One design of a super EMP warhead would be a modified neutron boomer. More accurately, an enhanced radiation warhead, or an ERW, because it produces not only lots of neutrons, but all kinds of radiation, including lots of gamma rays. Gamma rays cause the E1 hemp effect. One US ERW warhead, the W-82, deployed in NATO during the Cold War, weighed less than 50 kilograms. Since an EMP attack entails detonating the warhead at high altitude above the atmosphere, the warhead does not even need a re-entry vehicle. It can stay up there. Accuracy is not necessary to make a nuclear hemp attack against the United States. Again, the hemp field is so large that detonating anywhere over the US would have a catastrophic consequence. NK has orbited its satellite around the Earth at an altitude of 500 kilometers, and the trajectory of NK's satellite is no accident. NK deliberately aimed for and achieved its desired orbit and altitude. NK announced that the satellite was expected to be placed in an orbit of an altitude of about 500 kilometers, and initial tracking information shows that the satellite is in a clearly nearly circular orbit with minimum and maximum altitudes of 494 kilometers and 588 kilometers. In this one example, NK's satellite repeatedly overflew the United States during April 2013 amidst the most serious nuclear crisis up to that point with Pyongyang. NK's new leader, Kim Jong-un, repeatedly threatened to make nuclear missile strikes against the US and its allies from February to April 2013. On April 9th, NK's KMS-3 satellite flew over or near the U.S. bullseye for a high-altitude EMP burst that would have covered all 48 contiguous United States. On April 16th, the KMS-3 overflew Washington, D.C., New York City corridor for the optimum trajectory to put a peak hemp field over the U.S. political and economic capitals. The KMS-3 still orbits over the U.S. mainland regularly. NK appears to have borrowed more from the Russians than the design of a super EMP warhead. During the Cold Conflict, Moscow experimented with a stealthy way of delivering a nuclear attack on the United States using a fractional orbital bombardment system, or FOBS. This would entail launching an ICBM or space launch vehicle southward away from the United States so it appears non-threatening, and then delivering a warhead like a satellite on a south polar orbit, so the nuclear attack comes at the US from the south. During the Cold War and today, the United States has no ballistic missile early warning radars or missile interceptors facing south. We might not even see the attack coming. The trajectory for NK's satellite launch of December 12, 2012 looked a whole lot like a fractional orbit bombardment system for EMP attack. The space launch vehicle flew southward away from the United States, sent the satellite over the South Polar region, approaching the US from the unprotected south at the optimum altitude for a high-altitude EMP attack. That would place all 48 contiguous United States under one electric field. NK now appears to be armed with a FOBS capability to attack the United States or any and all nations on Earth with a super EMP. With this being said, we are serious about why we are suggesting people end up going over to EMP Shield. The reason why is because it is literally what the militaries around the world and around our country are actually doing to protect themselves. The government knows this is happening. It is why the previous administration made it such a high priority. I think that all of us should have this. I think that it should be included. If you sell a house, this should be something that automatically is part of code. You know, just like if you have running water or electricity, you should have an EMP shield. That, of course, isn't going to happen. So I hope that everybody takes this seriously. Dr. Vincent Peter Pry and these experts, they are right. Make sure to go to our website. You can actually protect yourself against this and help our show out at the same time. Either way, though, you need to do your research on this because this is absolutely serious. This is what the chatter is about. This is what they are talking about right now. If you don't know what an EMP shield is, there are several devices that this company makes and is contracted for agencies like the Department of Homeland Security, DoD, and now the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. This device, depending on which one you get, can protect your car. There is a device for your home. There's a device for your solar system. There's even a device for your ham radio if you need one. For your boats, your motorcycles, whatever device you have, they most likely have a solution for you to protect yourself. It can actually protect against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, so you are full spectrum prepared and covered. And it can even protect against a CME, a natural kind, which now experts say we are much overdue for and will happen. It is a matter of when, not if. A CME, again, like the Carrington event, did horrible damage, and that was before we had the sensitive gear of today. Not only this, it can protect you against lightning, and it's much cheaper than one lightning strike. If you live in the Midwest, then you already know lightning is a killer on houses, and it can be, $1,500 deductible. For a fraction of that cost, you can actually protect yourself and stop that. It actually grounds the signal before it's able to fry your device. This helps our channel as well. We believe that any affiliate that we ever work with should be able to either save a life or protect a life or make a life better. And again, we are trying to grow, but we're trying to do it in the right way. So we humbly appreciate your support from Dex and I and all of our wonderful mods that keep all of our chats a wonderful place to be. Thank you. All of the previous information will be at marfooglenews.com if you want to check any of our work or the dates entailed. We have a very detailed list at marfooglenews.com. Thank you. This has been a special MFN report. I hope this gets out far and wide. There's no way to tell if it will. But I do pray that people actually pay attention. Have a great day. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out.